And we are now live. Good evening, and inebriated. Good evening to you all. Merry Crisis, Happy Chrysler, Merry Holidays, all that jazz, and all that junk. Folks, it's your pal Zach, singer-songwriter, guitar player extraordinaire, broadcasting to you on the 20th, live on the 20th of December in the year of our Lord, 2022. Yes, this is live, but if you're watching this in the future, it will not be live. But at this particular juncture in time, we are live. We've got a great program for you filled with Bob Dylan, Neil Young, and some stuff that I wrote myself. But it's the holidays. So I figured since this is going to be my last stream before the Christmas holiday hits, I would hit you with my Christmas message. But of course, because it's the holidays, no holiday is complete without a little bit of alcohol. For those of you on Instagram, our customary libation, Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey, number 7. Here's to swimming with bull-legged women. Sweet Home Alabama, all day long. So the idea I wanted to talk to you is about, for my Christmas message, is this idea of no room at the end, right? So why was Jesus, the baby Jesus, born in a manger, which is essentially a feeding trough? Well, I want you to take a trip with me in your mind's eye, okay, using your imagination, back to 2,000 years ago in a little area called Judea, little region called Galilee in the town of Nazareth, where Joseph and his very pregnant wife, Mary, have to make a trek from Nazareth to Bethlehem. Now, why are they going there? Because some jerk in Rome is placing a tax on them, and that's where they got to go to register, because that's where Joseph is from, because he belongs to the house of David. Now, be that as it may, does anybody out there in TV land know how far it is from Nazareth to Bethlehem using the dirt roads available at the time? Because, mind you, this is Bible times. It's not like they can hop in the family station wagon and just head on down the highway, la-di-frickin-da, and end up in Bethlehem. Okay, so the distance using the dirt roads available at the time is 97 miles. Okay, so imagine this. You're going to have to stop frequently, because let's be honest, it's a very pregnant lady, and they're traveling on foot. Okay, well, Joseph's probably on foot. Mary hopefully is on a donkey. Now, the most direct route to get to Bethlehem from Nazareth is to go, wow, I don't have my map. Crap. Okay, I'm going to have to wing this, so I'll have to do this in reverse, so hopefully I get this right. The most direct route would be to go from Nazareth down to, or through, Samaria. But as you know, if you're a nerd like me, that the Samaritans and the Jews weren't exactly they weren't exactly friends, shall we say. So that means that they probably had to zigzag over to the east and go through the Judean desert, which, as the name connotates, is in fact a desert, which means it's going to get 80, 90, 100 degrees plus during the day and near freezing at night. So when those are your two options, they're probably traveling during the day. And, considering bathroom breaks, mealtime and stuff like that, they're probably averaging at least 10 miles a day. So you got to figure this is a 10-day trip. It's not like those Rankin Bass cartoons where Joseph and Mary, they leave, and then like 2 days later, they're in Bethlehem. No. They've got to go through the Judean desert, and then after the desert, it gets even better, right? Because it's heavily forested towards the end, which means that they're going to have to contend with lions, tigers, bears, rodents of unusual sizes, probably some robbers and things like that. And then after they get through the forested area, the journey's not done. Once they get around Jericho, there's actually a hill they've got to climb, and this is not, a hill is probably not the best way to describe that. It's closer to a mountain. It's about 3,500 feet. So they've got to climb up this mountain, again, 9 months pregnant. Lady's about to the baby Jesus is about to fly out of that uterus. And so they get up the mountain, and they come down the mountain, and they finally make it to Bethlehem. After 10 days of grueling through the Judean desert, they make it to Bethlehem, okay? And they make it to the inn. And what do they get told? No room at the inn. Sorry, dudes, you're going to have to huff it and puff it out in the stable with the cows, the chickens, the pigs, what have you. Now, an inn in Bible times, at least during this period, is not like you and I think of it today. It's not no Hilton. Side tangent here. Now, if you there's always room. Okay, bring me any night manager of a Hilton property or something like that. They've got room. They may not want to rent it out to you, but because there's probably they have to keep them, if I remember correctly, for like a VIP or something like that. So if the mayor shows up, they got to have them room on hand. But if you go full Karen, especially if you lean hard into the I'm a pregnant lady thing, you'll get a room. They'll make it work. It may not be expedient, but they'll find a room. Okay, but working back to my point here, the Greek word for inn is actually, if I remember correctly, it's kataluma, and so that can mean hotel or inn like we think of it today, but it was more customary at the time to stay with family members or even distant relatives. So that means there is a good chance that Joseph and Mary were rejected by relatives of Joseph. And when I was thinking about this, over the last couple of weeks about what I wanted to say, I couldn't help but draw some parallels to today's society and how there's been lots of people that especially these last few years, have been rejected by their own family members for one reason or another and been told no room at the inn and been sent out to the stables with the animals. And for various reasons, whether they voted for the wrong person or they have the wrong religious beliefs or they have a lifestyle choice or something like that somebody doesn't agree with, or they just don't, they're too different. People have been rejected. And one of the things I know, especially since I've been on TikTok, is there's a lot of people out there who really need friends and things like that. So I in a weird way, I feel like if I'm going to keep doing these broadcasts, I don't want Musical Hangout. One of the things I want to achieve with this is a place where there's always room at the end for those of you who want to come and hang out, even if it's just for a few minutes here on a Tuesday night, and forget all your troubles. I want you to know that you'll be welcome here, because it's not the times that, right, where we're rejected and told that there's no room at the end that we remember. It's always the times that somebody came alongside us when we were down and picked us up and offered us even their stable to come and hang out for a while. So that's what I would like Musical Hangout to be. It doesn't matter what political differences we have or religious or philosophical, even tastes in music. You'll always be welcome here at Musical Hangout on a Tuesday night, because I want to sing for you, I want to make records for you, and I want it to be a place where you can forget your troubles and know that you will be greeted with peace and love. And so that is my Christmas message for 2022. I'll get off my high horse here, and we'll sing you some music. And it's okay for me to do this, because as the old saying goes, whiskey before beer, you're in the clear. Beer after whiskey, mighty risky. There's lots of people out there preaching tolerance and things like that these days, especially artists like me. But I don't think they actually mean it, at least if their tweets and how they carry themselves out on the internet is to be believed. Alrighty, this is a Neil Young song. We're going way back into the archives of Neil Young for a song called On the Way Home. When the dream came, I held my breath with my eyes closed. I went insane like a smoke-ring day when the wind blows. Now I won't be back till later on, if I do come back at all. But you know me, and I miss you now. In a strange game, I saw myself as you knew me. And when the change came, and you had a chance to see through me, though the other side is just the same. You can tell my dream is real, 'cause I love you. Can you see me now? Can you feel it now? Can you? Oh, it makes me feel so doggone good. From the top of my head to the bottom of my corns, which will most likely freeze if this wind chill stays in effect here in the Pacific Northwest. But it's good. I got that Viking blood. We are fierce and mighty warriors, my family and I, from the North Country. I don't know if I'm supposed to show labels. I just realized I might get yelled at by YouTube later. We'll see how this goes. Listen, if Jack Daniels wants to sponsor me, I'll happily take Jack Daniels. I'm not Neil Young. I'll actually sing for the big corporations because I like to have money, and quite honestly, I don't want to work at a call center the rest of my life. Hey, speaking of drinking, here's a drinking song I wrote. Boy, if my pastor hears this. It's a song called Sacred Gin Mill. I'm drinking whiskey, but hey, the principle of the drinking song applies. Around this time of year, my family and I, again, we are Norwegians, so we get together at the Christmas Eve dinner table, and we raise these glasses or bottles or what have you. Sometimes I lose my glass throughout the night, shall we say, and I have to raise an imaginary glass, and we sing very loudly in Norwegian, which I will not do. But I'm going to sing my own drinking song. It's called Sacred Gin Mill. It's from my most recent album called The Way We Were, which you can find here on the information superhighway we call the Internet. There's a hole in the wall where the old men go to drown their sorrows, where each glass poured will cut the brain but mend a broken heart. And the bartender knows your name, and we try to drink alone until they stand and sing. And each man will search the glass for questions unanswered, and each man knows the answers not in a dream, and each one knows his forgotten soul. It's remembered on high, and then they stand and sing. Light, 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 light. And no one stands sober at the end of the night. We'll stumble home blindly to our wives and girlfriends, but we'll make our way back again at opening tomorrow, and we'll all stand and sing. Light, 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 light. Light, 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 light. as we say in the homeland, skull. Yeah, you Minnesota Vikings are not real Vikings. I've spoken. Here's another song from the new record. It's about two people that I've never met. It's sort of a love song, if you can dig it. Two star-crossed lovers, if you will. Something that I only know about because I had to read Romeo and Juliet. But it takes place in a magical, distant land called Lansing, Michigan. She was laughing at me, laughing in her sleep. I could see it in her eyes. A slow song started playing. She came up to me. We started swaying. You're never gonna be my only true love. I'd never carry a picture in my wallet. And I was never gonna be your only boy. I'd never see the family farm. Well, Louise, we love the short time. That's alright with me, 'cause I still care about you. And I'll be there if you call, and if you don't, I'll see you around. And I'll sometimes think about you, may even try to write, 'cause I know where to send my letters. And you're always gonna be my favorite person in Lansing, Michigan. Lansing, Michigan. Never been there. You would think somebody with my musical taste would be more inclined to visit Detroit, Rock City. Although I'm not that big of a Kiss fan anymore. Hey, here's an old one, and I don't mean that, quasi-sarcastically like I sometimes do. I mean, it's an old one in terms of, it's from like the 1930s, I think, if I remember correctly. Although the whiskey here gives me the memory of a newborn babe. But it's a song called Blood in My Eyes. Doesn't sound very sanitary now that I say it out loud. Be that as it may, it's a song I learned from Bob Dylan from his 1993 record called World Gone Wrong. It's one of two albums released, the other one being Good As I've Been to You in 1992, full of old folk songs. It was the first time he'd done that in over 30 years. And it was partly... Well, the main reason those two albums got made was because they were part of essentially contract filler. He had to do two albums and then write a book before he could renegotiate his contract with Sony. And so he'd already kind of been reintroducing old folk songs as a part of his live shows. So he just threw a bunch of tunes together and released them lickety-splitly. It sounds kind of sloppy, but somehow... they ended up being two of my favorite Bob Dylan records. I mean, after I heard those, I started performing the tunes from the album and learning a bunch of proper folk songs, as it were. And one time, I was working at a place called the Fat House here in Washington, in the magical city of Spokane. It's a venue that no longer exists, but as an encore, believe it or not, I actually whipped this song out, which, like, looking back, I don't exactly know what I was thinking. Probably not thinking at all. And was able to whip this out of the bag, and people really, really liked it. And I've only done it maybe one other time since then, which is weird. Usually when you you crush it, you got to do these songs over and over again. So anyways, this is called Blood in My Eyes by a group called the Mississippi Sheiks. Woke up this morning feeling blue. Seen a good-looking girl, can I make love with you? Hey, hey, babe, I got blood in my eyes for you. I got blood in my eyes for you, baby, and I don't care what in the world you do. Went back home, put on my tie. Gonna get that girl that money will buy. Hey, hey, babe, I got blood in my eyes for you. I got blood in my eyes for you, baby, and I don't care what in the world you do. She looked at me, begun to smile. She said, young man, can't you stay a little while? No, no, babe, I got blood in my eyes for you. I got blood in my eyes for you, baby, and I don't care what in the world you do. No, no, ma'am, I can't wait. You got my money, now you're trying to break this date. Hey, hey, babe, I got blood in my eyes for you. I got blood in my eyes for you, baby, I don't care what in the world you do. I'll tell you something, tell you the facts. You don't want me, give me my money back. Hey, babe, I got blood in my eyes for you. I got blood in my eyes for you, baby, I don't care what in the world you do. Blood in My Eyes, as recorded by Bob Dylan. Speaking of which, here's a Bob Dylan tune, and it's very rare that I get to do an actual new Bob Dylan song, in the sense that it came out 2 years ago on his album, Rough and Rowdy Ways. Phenomenal album. I would even go as far as to say that if some unlucky accident or health problem, heaven forbid, should befall my beloved singing and songwriting hero Bob Dylan, what an album to go out on, because every song on that album is a certified hood classic, including the one I'm about to do. This is probably, I'll go ahead and say it, you heard it here, folks, that this is probably, it's got to be, if it's not the best or most beautiful song Bob Dylan has ever written, it's got to be in the top 3. It's a song called I've Made Up My Mind to Give Myself to You. We'll talk a little bit more about some interpretations of the song after I perform it. I want it fresh in your mind, though. I'm sitting on my terrace, I'm lost in the stars. I'm listening to the sounds of the sad guitars. I've thought it all over and I've thought it all through. I made up my mind to give myself to you. I'll watch the first fall of snow. I saw the flowers come and go. I don't think anyone's has ever knew. I made up my mind to give myself to you. I'm giving myself to you. I am from Salt Lake City to Birmingham, East LA, San Antonio. I don't think I can bear to live my life alone. My eyes are like a shooting star. Looks at nothing here or there, looks at nothing near or far. No one's ever told me it's just something that I knew. I made up my mind to give myself to you. If I had the wings of a snow-white dove, I'd preach the gospel of love. A love so real, a love so true. I made up my mind to give myself to you. Well, take me on traveling, you're a traveling man. Show me something that I'll understand. I'm not who I was, things aren't what they were. I could go far away from home with her. I've walked along a road of despair, and I met no other travelers there. A lot of people gone, a lot of them I knew, but I made up my mind to give myself to you. Well, my heart's like a river that sings. It just takes me a while to realize these things. I'll see you at sunrise, I'll see you at dawn. I'll lay down beside you when everyone's gone. I walked rivers to the sea, and I'm hoping the gods go easy with me. I knew you'd say yes, 'cause I'm saying it too. I made up my mind to give myself to you. I made up my mind to give myself to you. I've always interpreted it as a love song, so basically at face value. There's obviously between the narrator and his muse, there's obviously been a fair amount of time to the relationship. Some folks have interpreted it. I spent a lot of time on the Bob Dylan Reddit, folks. Uncomfortable. I forget the exact amount of time, but Reddit told me, and I was a little bit shocked. At first, I'll be honest with you, it was insultingly low. But be that as it may, one interpretation somebody offered up was that it's actually sung from the perspective of a traveling preacher. But really, the only evidence, I think, lyrically that you see in that is the line about going out traveling, and there's obviously some amount of traveling involved in that song, but there's not enough on there for me to buy that conclusion wholesale. One critic's opinion I read, I believe it was in Rolling Stone, said it's Dylan committing himself to a higher power, which would also not be uncommon for Bob Dylan, who got saved in the 80s and did a bunch of gospel records. And then around 2012, he was actually going to, when he was in the studio recording the album that would become Tempest, he was actually set to record his first series of gospel songs for the first time since the 1980s. So he's never wandered far from that path. The one that is most interesting, but I still don't believe, is that it's actually sort of a love letter to the fans, schlubs like me that have been with him, for time immemorial. And that it's him dedicating himself to us, and I don't know. That seems a bit too sentimental for Bob Dylan. I know that maybe he's gotten a little softer in his old age, but to the best of my knowledge, I've never seen him be that sentimental towards the fan base. But that's kind of what we like about Bob Dylan. He doesn't need to be a sap with us. He, when he wants to tell us something, he tells us something, and he usually means it. And when he doesn't want to tell us something, he usually shrouds it in mystery. That's what makes him one of the great poets of our time. So anyways, I got to see him do that live earlier this year. And it was a highlight, for sure. Changing gears here, we'll do one of my own tunes. Actually gives Bob Dylan a nice shout out. Excuse me. It's a cinematic song. It's kind of like, like when people are like, my life's like a movie. And they kind of talk about what scenes went down. So yeah, it's a cinematic song. You've got a strange, lonely little place called the world. And this is sort of a dream. So that means it's going to get weird and kind of David Lynch on you. But in a fun, hip, folk singing kind of way. Last night I had a dream. It was a strange dream about a sad place called the world. It was a strange place with invisible lines that kept us from each other. And I peeked through the Venetian blinds to see more. I saw the Iraq war vets walk the cold streets alone at night. I saw the refugees herded like cattle in fright. I saw people arguing with each other over what is right and coming up short. I saw the soldier guarding his fort from the skirmish in the sand that's gotten out of hand. Then the clouds came in, heard the rumble in the wind, and something moved within.
the trees all disappeared, and the sky became a crimson veneer, when a voice loud and clear said, there's fire where you're going. And the ocean tide turned wild, and the man inside his lighthouse tried to turn the dial, but only static came through. Then I was on a stage, I was twice the age I am now. I stepped forward and I began to sing. I sang for the world in my dream, for strawberries and cream, for my friends in Tennessee, and every soul that died of jealousy. I sang for Bob Dylan and Neil Young, whose words I've often sung. I sang for Mom and Dad, they always did the best with what they had. And for all the girls I thought I could love, for my country of hawks and doves, for friends gone or forgotten, for my very soul, may it never turn rotten. Then the curtain fell, it was then I could tell, it'll all go away, it'll fade into the blackness of the void. And no one's gonna be in charge, and I knew it was heavy and large, but when I woke up I decided to smile, try to take charge, at least for a while, 'cause if the meek inherit the earth, so shall it be. And if it all burns out, so shall it be. And if malevolence can rule by decree, let us walk along in peace, my brothers and me, amen. It's a song called Strange Dream. One of my that song's picked up some steam recently. It got up on some Russian playlist on Spotify. Some radio station somewhere in Europe is listening. Eastern Europe is really digging that song for some reason. You know, it's like the world kind of just sometimes needs to chill out. I'm gonna do a song called I'm Okay. I know I've done it before, too many times probably. But doggone it, I like it. And it's a good time song for this time of year where you're just kind of at a certain point, you're struggling, you know, you just want to make it to the end of the year. And as I was rehearsing it, I was thinking about a friend of mine who could probably use this song right about now. Okay, I'm doing okay. Things could be better, and they could be a whole lot worse. Sometimes I am riding high, other times I'm sinking low. Life can be so cruel, but it can be beautiful, like the hips of a girl on a Sunday street. And tongues will be sharp as swords and cut through even the strongest armor. And I'm waiting for fortune to be kind. I'm trying to keep her off my mind. I've got nothing to lose. I've got nothing to prove. I've got just enough strength for the days ahead. And okay, I'm doing okay. I just needed to be alone today. And so, what about Scarlet? What can I say? It was together forever. Stay with me, I love you. Stick with me till the morning time. But then the sun rose and burnt the night away. And so what about love and inspiration? You can find them both even when you're not looking. I will sing my song and write my words and dream each night about a beautiful girl. The world is not my home. I won't be here long. I'm marching toward that horizon line, home to that sweet by and by. Friends arrive and disappear when Miss Jane comes calling. I won't be here, I won't be around. And okay, I'm doing okay. I just needed a friend today. The timpani will bend and the story will end. One way or another, the book will close. I'll stand on the shoreline and watch the ship come in, 'cause one of them I know is mine. And I'm waiting for my luck to turn. One more roll of dice, and I'm waiting for her call. I hope it comes soon. I know my day is coming fast. It's just a matter of time. And yes, I know how to win, and I know how to lose, and I'm learning how to be at peace and content with everything. And I'm learning how to be okay, even when I'm not. And okay, I'm doing okay. I just needed a win. today. And of course, I'm okay. And just like you, you'll be okay. Because really, contentment's where it's at, folks. People are always out there. I always think it's funny. Oprah and these knuckleheads always make like happiness the main goal, but like mathematically speaking, I have probably been happy for like maybe like 90 hours of my entire life, cumulatively speaking. But the times where I've just been a lot higher. I'm not good at maths, but because I'm a musician. But there's a balance in there somewhere. Man, that's a song that makes you want to have a drink. Not bad. For a winter ale. Let's see what's next. Oh, I love this song, Old Country Road, from my second album called Halfway Home. Old Country Road is a good one because at the time, because I was delusional, I was not the biggest fan of country music. That was before I arrived at my current opinion on country music, which is that it starts in 1928 and ends in about 1972. That's all you need to see. Okay, I've never forgiven the early 2000s or the Bush administration for what they did to country music. Be that as it may, this is sort of a country song, which is fitting because, again, it's called Old Country Road. A fun memory about this, I've already told in the past how I kind of wrote this song. But one of the first times I ever did it, I remember it being one of the first times I had really gripped an audience. Like I knew I had them eaten out of the palm of my hand. And so, I've never forgotten that. So we'll do Old Country Road. I'm walking down that old country road. It's twisted, it's tired, there's thorns in its path. It's the only road that I've ever known. But if I'm gonna die before I'm ready to go, if I'm gonna die before my time comes, don't bury me on that old country road. I'm seeing a world that is black and white, in color for the first time. The rich and the poor, the black and the white. I know they're precious in His sight. But if I'm gonna die before my time comes, if I'm gonna die before I'm ready to go, don't bury me on that old country road. I used to want to travel down every highway and road in this here land, from the Golden Gate Bridge to Nashville, Tennessee. But if I'm gonna die before my time comes, if I'm gonna die before I'm ready to go, don't bury me on that old country road. north side of town where I was born. I was taught and brought up there where I took my first steps. But if I'm gonna die before my time comes, if I'm gonna die before I'm ready to go, don't bury me on that old country road. Old Country Road, written by yours truly. Not to be confused with Walking Down a Country Road by James Taylor, or, listen, I don't even, after living in Nashville for a year, I can't listen to the song Take Me Home Country Road. I was never a John Denver fan to begin with. I liked Grandma's Feather Bed, Rocky Mountain High, and Leaving on a Jet Plane, and that's about it. That's all I can muster up for John Denver, or anytime he's with the Muppets. I'll let that one slide. But after I've heard good versions of that song, bad versions of that song, some versions of that song that I probably don't even remember. I'm tired of it. Either way, that song is mine. It's mine! This is another song I wrote. It's called Nihilistic Blues. It's kind of like, I used to have a box full of bad days. And one day, I decided to bury it in the yard, which ended up being a big mistake because we'd had a big rain come through, and I don't know what what was out there in the yard. Probably some eggshells and some coffee grinds, but boy, did that box of bad days really take off. So the lesson is to never, under any circumstances, bury your bad days, because if it rains, it can turn into another bad day, and bad days turn into bad weeks, and bad weeks turn into bad months, and bad months. But sooner or later, you've got a bad year on your hand. So don't bury them. It's kind of like feeding your gremlin after midnight, or sticking your finger or a turd in a bandsaw. Just don't do it. What you do with your bad days is you choke them. Okay, you choke them right down to nothing. They're your bad days. And you'll avoid writing or listening to songs like this. I got this girl I did, her eyes meet mine when she goes strolling by. I used to walk along the streets so free, where the buildings reach the sky. Now I've got those Marxist blues, and I don't know which to choose, my health or happiness. Try not to disassociate or even procreate. My software is out of date. The church, it hides the news. The Pope denies the claim, and another choir boy sings in pain. Hospitals stand and cry, old people wait to die, at home or at the mall. I've got those American blues, the kind in the news, the ones that killed John Lennon. Then they got JFK, Abe Lincoln, Marilyn Monroe, and then Lenny Bruce. Facebook Live suicides, opiates cut with lies, two-party platform and a racial divide. Lady Gaga Oreos, men were born free, so that old story goes. It's those historical blues, militant feminist grooves, mad at Joe Rogan podcast, riots in the street, the outlook it is bleak, there's a knee on your neck. Read books by Jordan Peterson, Walmart greeters then. Learn about Oprah and a wig. Vice President went mad, Iraq War #3. Where could all the hippies be? They're actually in charge now. I've got those George Bush blues, Dick Cheney elaborate ruse, propaganda it let us hear. Gates and Bezos got divorced, the pale rider rides his horse. Is everything gonna be okay? Will everything be okay? Be okay? Will everything be okay? Be okay now? Will everything be okay? Be okay now? It's a song for you called Nihilistic Blues. Will everything be okay? I think so. And it's not just the alcohol talking. I've not had enough of that. Alrighty. Whoa. Gonna be a little bit long tonight. But I've got one more song before we hit you with your wisdom and your stupid joke and send you off for the holidays. But of course, I want to remind you, I will be here Tuesday the 27th of December for a rip-roaring night of electric music and solid walls of sound, coming at you with Telecaster debauchery for a wonderful, romping good time. And there will not be any more Christmas musics, but I'm going to try to wiggle some holiday cheer into this song, which I've done before. It's called Keep It Clean. Good advice. I went down to the river, couldn't get across. I jumped on your poppy cause I thought it was a horse, and I ride him over, give him Coca-Cola, lemon soda, sauce of ice cream. You take soap and water, baby, for to keep it clean. Your sister was a teddy, daddy was a bear. Put a muzzle on your mama cause she had bad hair. Now ride him over, give him Coca-Cola, lemon soda, sauce of ice cream. You take soap and water, baby, for to keep it clean. Well, you want to get frisky, you don't want to pay the price. Fill it up with whiskey, then pack it down with ice and ride it over. Give a Coca-Cola, lemon soda, sauce of ice cream. You take soap and water. Was the night before Christmas, went out on the lawn. There came a big crash, it was Santa Claus sliding on his yes, 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 and ride him over. Give him Coca-Cola, lemon soda, sauce of ice cream. You take soap and water, baby, for to keep it clean. Oh, you want to see where the money is green? I'll show you something Elon Musk never seen. I'll ride him over. Give him Coca-Cola, lemon soda, sauce of ice cream. You take soap and water. Oh, you want to get to heaven when you D.I.E. You gotta put on a collar and your T.I.E. and ride him over. Give him Coca-Cola, lemon soda, sauce of ice cream. You take soap and water, baby, for to keep it clean. Folks, thank you so much for coming into the musical hangout and sticking around, however many of you there were, for however many tunes that you stuck around with. Of course, I will be here next Tuesday, as mentioned earlier, the 27th. For those of you watching on YouTube, if you're not already subscribed, please consider that. Also, following the links in the description below to the Instagram, the TikToks, the Spotifys, the Yams, the Planny Plans. Until next time, I'm Zach Hval, reminding you of the wise words of Willy Wonka. Candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker. Bread is bread, cheese is cheese, praise God, and salute. Smooth. Did you ever hear the one about the Christmas cop? So, a little boy is out riding his new bicycle one Christmas morning, and a police officer on horseback rides up next to him and says, "Hey, kid, that's a nice bike. Did Santa bring you that for Christmas?" And the little boy says, "Yes, as a matter of fact, he did." And the police officer says, "Well, next time, tell Santa next year to bring you a taillight for that bike." And he proceeds to write the young kid a $40 ticket for a safety violation. And before he takes off, the kid says to the police officer, "Hey, officer, that's a nice horse. Did Santa bring you that for Christmas?" And the police officer decides to indulge the kid and says, "Well, yes, as a matter of fact, he did." And the kid says to the police officer, "Well, tell Santa that next year he should put the dick underneath the horse, not on top." I'm going to hell for that one. It's time for me to go down to the river and sing some spiritual hymns. Until next time, friends.